Tibetan situation. For Tibetans who saw the video of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's interaction with the child at a public event in February, it is clear that he was displaying affection, warmth, and humor. It is through a lifetime of familiarity with His Holiness the Dalai Lama that we all understand his words and his actions. But for some people who don't know the situational context or the cultural context, or who didn't even bother to look up online, especially because of the world that we live in, the current world where children truly do suffer from serious abuse at the hands of powerful people, from religious institutions, there was a belief and assumption that the act was malign and the child was harmed. But what we can say is that with absolute certainty, that is not what happened. It is instructive that people who make these claims listen to what the child and the family have to say about their experience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Just immediately after the event, both the mother, who was seen on the stage right beside His Holiness, give an interview with the child, expressing how much of a blessing it was. Still, if the world is not satisfied with these concerns, we urge people to listen to their own words of the child and the mother themselves about what happened. This incident, aftermath of this incident, people can just walk away. Say, oops, I made a mistake, oops, sorry. But for us, the Tibetan people, the followers and the supporters of His Holiness Dalai Lama, what has been the most painful for Tibetans and our allies is witnessing the rush to condemn His Holiness. Any attempt to understand the Tibetan culture, the full context of the exchange of His Holiness, who is nearly 90 years old, the icon of global peace, has been shockingly absent from most media coverage and online discourse. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has lived nearly all his life in the public eye. He has engaged directly with countless thousands of people around the globe, and his life is remarkably unmarred by any scandal or controversy, even though that upsets the Chinese leadership very much. On the contrary, what His Holiness the Dalai Lama has done is what very few leaders of his stature do. He has welcomed and embraced change. He has willingly given up political power. He has forgiven and even seeks compromise with the same Chinese leaders that are destroying Tibet. As movement leaders and activists, we're not surprised to see a massive operation by the Chinese government who is trolling and making sure that they're working amplified times to drive this story, maximizing their views and outrage in order to distort the reality. Their aim is to destroy the reputation of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the movement for Tibetan freedom. For the world, there is no secret Dalai Lama. He is who we know him to be, an 87-year-old Buddhist monk who has devoted his life to teaching, practicing, meditating on wisdom and compassion. And for the world, we are immensely proud of his legacy and selfless service to humanity. We stand by him at this time and every single time. Tibetans in Tibet need us. They need us to stay focused. They need us to stay focused on exposing the reality of the China's genocidal policies inside of Tibet. Tibet is the least free place on earth. China has forced and coerced 1 million Tibetan children into colonial state-run boarding schools. Some experts say within 15-20 years, the Tibetan language will be lost from our next generation. However, this is just the beginning. There is so much more work left for us Tibetans to do to counter the narrative. This stain on the name of His Holiness is worldwide at the moment. And we must ensure that we work together to counter that narrative. All the young people here, if you ever feel alone, just look around today. Take a look around. This is the power of community. This is the power of our people when we come together. So let us rise. If you need to know what unity looks like, this is it. If you want to know what resiliency is, look inside Tibet. The Chinese government has been releasing the portraits of His Holiness the Dalai Lama after decades of being illegal to look up His Holiness's name online. And now, to spread this propaganda, they decided to spread memes and very disturbing photos of His Holiness that are edited. But guess what? Tibetans inside of Tibet are in joy. They're praying, they're happy that they can see their leader for the first time freely on the internet. This is the power of His Holiness. To be honest, as I said in the beginning, His Holiness doesn't need any defending because He's the Buddha. It is our duty and responsibility to ensure that we clear this name, that stain that the world has put onto His Holiness's name. The reason is because the future is grim, folks. We have to take charge of our own future. We are the leaders that we have been waiting for. So together, let's do this. Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Long live! Dalai Lama! Long live! Dalai Lama! Long live! Dalai Lama! Thank you so much.
Nanda chulelagi kami hajang di tinsa buta nang su nganjo tundru chegya da tde tang nganjo chije lombala pere peme chama nanyang tang nganjo tde chesho